English 2020. Dr. Fatma Zahra Salim with you, a professor in the Faculty of Education at Ain Shams University in the Foundations of Education Department. And today we will gonna to discuss the key approaches to reading texts. The second approach, did you remember dear the first approach? Yes, exactly. Perfect. The first approach was the cognitive approach. So let us see the second approaches that we will discuss today, inshallah. The second approach is critical analytical approach. So we gather here between criticism and the analysis methods in the same approach. So what's approach as we said before? Yes, methodology or method or strategy. Let us see the definition of the critical analytical approach. First of all, we need to discover how the critical analytical approach is the ability to discover, to know the advantages and the disadvantages of the topic. So we need to know the positives and negatives of the issue or the topic or the problem that we discuss. Then we need to standing back to criticize. Standing back, we need to stop and analyze all this given information or the information that give to us. So standing back from the information given and examining this information given or the given information in detail from many angles. What does it mean angles here? Dimensions, factors. So we need to know everything about this given information and discover the positives and negatives of this given information. Let us see the most important keywords related to the critical analytical approach. The most important keywords here is analysis. So we practice here the analysis process. Arguments, what does it mean? Argument is the discussions about the details and discussions about the topic that we propose and that we need alternatives and solution to this topic or this issue or problem. And the evidence, we need to find the evidence and support our opinions or our points of view with real evidence and strong evidence. So we need to build our criticism and analytical or our criticism and analysis on based on the real evidence and strong evidence. And the very important keyword here is reasoning, using our minds to produce the new ideas, the new opinion, the new points of view. So we need reasoning means here practice the process of thinking and meta thinking or beyond thinking or thinking of thinking. We need to find reasons and strong evidence behind our issue or behind our topic that we discuss. So reasoning here is very crucial and very important. So, and we need also to evaluate and assess the given information that we have and the new information that we create. So we need evaluation and assessment, which means here we need to take our decision and we need to find solutions and alternatives to our problems, and we need analysis and results to this discussion of the issue or the topic. So here these are the keywords that critical analytical approach concerns with the analysis, arguments, evidence, reasoning, and evaluation. So in fact, we have 5 key steps of critical analytical approach, and you, as a reader or as a critic or as an analyst, you should criticize this and follow these 5 key steps to criticize and analyze the text very well. The first step is identifying the line of reasoning. The line of reasoning, your argument or the writer argument or point of view, and how he wants to persuade you with this line of reasoning or his or her point of view inside the text. So you need to analyze this line of reasoning very well and put your hand on the line of reasoning or the key idea that or the message that the writer wants to send it to you. The second step is critically evaluate the line of reasoning. You need here to criticize very well the line of reasoning and discover the argument. Is it acceptable or is not acceptable, or coming up with your convinces or your persuasion about a specific field of study or your field of study in foundations of education, or this not acceptable to your community or to your convinces or your persuasion. So this is very important to criticize this line of reasoning and move to the third step, which is the questions that you raised to analyze this line of reasoning and to know the hidden agenda and the hidden curriculum of this passage or this text. It may be you can extract the writer needs to send you unacceptable messages or based his results on the false premises or false evidence and needs to convince you with unreal things or unreal line of reasoning or point of view or messages. So you need to ask many questions, the sources that the writer depends on to build his text, his or her text, such as if it subjective sources or objective sources or related to he interested to prove according to specific sources, and he depends on these sources to support his ideas or his line of reasoning instead of objective or disinterested sources. All these things you should ask yourself as a reader and as an analyst and person and as a critic. You should practice and criticize all and answer all these questions to find many information and to analyze this text well to find the truth and the fact behind the text or the scope of your field of your studying or the field of study in your foundations of education major. And the fourth step related to identify evidence in the text. Here, the writer needs to convince you with a specific message or point of view. So what are the evidence upon these messages or upon this line of reasoning or arguments? So you search for inside the text the evidence. If it's strong evidence or weak evidence. You can extract this evidence from maybe case studies he mentioned in his text, stories, history of or background of a theory or the main founder of the field of study or the main founder of a specific science, maybe the statistics. So you find many historians or studies or statistics or references related to or case studies or questionnaires or the results of some of questionnaires that he applied in his context to obtain specific results or results of surveys. So this some evidence may be strong evidence or weak or false, maybe false evidence, and he built his he builds his text upon false evidence, and you will discover all these things, or maybe weak evidence, not a strong one. So you will discover all these things by searching for the evidence and the inside the text to know more about this text and to criticize this text well. Uh, the last thing is evaluate the evidence. Here you need to evaluate means assess or make assessment to this evidence. When you need to make assessment for anything, you should put your own guidelines or criteria for evaluation and assessment. So here you need, before evaluation, you should put a specific criteria such as the year or the date of the text or the resource that the writer depends on, maybe the statistics, maybe the evidence, maybe the strong, how evidence are strong or not. A lot of things or a lot of criteria and guidelines that you should follow, or put your own guidelines or your own criteria to criticize well your text, and or maybe the publication of this the year of publication of this text, or the source of publication, the journal or the magazine that this text or this article published in. Many things that you can put for you to criticize very well and analyze very well the text, and to extract many results and many findings related to your text and related to analytical process. So these are the 5 key steps of critical analytical approach, and this is very crucial and very important to follow to criticize very well and analyze very well the text related to your major in foundations of education. Now let's practice on your field of study in foundations of education, or your major in foundations of education. Let's practice. We need now to apply all these 5 steps of critical analytical approach on a specific passage or specific article related to the foundations of education major. Now, please open the link below and read the text, then apply the 5 key steps of the critical analytical approach. This is very important article related to 5 things that educators should know about the philosophy of education. Enjoy your criticism and your analysis on this valuable text and valuable article. Thank you for having me in this lecture, and see you inshallah in the first coming lectures with other approaches or how to read the text very well. Please keep on your smile all the time, because you deserve to be an optimistic person, and also remember to practice the approaches upon your readings in English in any texts of your field of study and foundations of education. Fatma Zahra Salim with you, professor in the Faculty of Education at Ancient University in the Foundations of Education department. Bye bye.